I was so overwhelmed and so stressed over this beauty clinic job that I nearly fainted. I nearly fainted on the couch.
It took time for our bodies to get that depleted. It's going to take time for the body to heal. Women get judged no matter what they do. Like either you're too much or you're not enough.
I don't think because you're an adult you need to be serious. This is a calm space. Calm people.
In today's episode, you are going to get the solution if you want beautiful, dewy, glowing skin and so much more, like a thriving life and ultimate health and wellness so that you can truly flourish. So let me tell you something. The answer to you living your best life and really glowing from the inside out isn't in what you're seeing in all the ads on TV, billboards, or magazines. It's inside this episode. Let's dive in as I explore a juicy conversation with Morgan and Ariel from Balance Skin and Wellness. Enjoy. Welcome to Resonance, a podcast for ambitious, heart-led humans craving more balance, depth, and aliveness in their lives. I'm your host, Vic, health coach, yoga teacher, facilitator, and fellow high achiever, learning to live in tune with my nervous system, not against it. And this space is here to remind you that you can have it all. The career, the success, the fulfillment, all aligned with your truth. Through honest conversations, expert insights, and practical tools, we'll explore how to work with your body, mind, emotions, and spirit, not against them. And the best part? You don't have to stay stuck in survival mode to get there. Because true well-being is not about being perfect. It's about being in resonance. Let's dive in. All right, so quick intro to Morgan and Ariel from Balance Skin and Wellness. I was referred to them by a friend and I had the most incredible experience. You know, I know facials for many people may seem like a really big luxury, but actually it is such a great way to pamper yourself and show yourself some self-care. And it doesn't have to be like every single week. Honestly, you'll hear in this episode, actually, Morgan talk about the fact that you need a decent amount of time between your facials to really start to see long-lasting results. And also, of course, the more the merrier. But, I'm conscious that we all have certain time and resources available. So if this has ever felt like a distant possibility, maybe think again, because it might be exactly what your skin and your face need. And so, yeah, I just had this most amazing experience at their studio, from the first initial welcome to Morgan really taking the time to get to know me and my unique skin situation. And it was truly like, if you think of wanting to design your dream ultimate facial experience, this was it. And so we got talking, and the more I spoke to the ladies, the more I was like, wow, you've got so much knowledge. I knew we had to bring them onto this podcast. So the reason this topic is so important is that Morgan and Ariel share a really unique perspective, as they are not just skin specialists, they are also nurses and such incredible multifaceted women who shed so much wisdom and light on what balance, wellness, skin, and stress truly look like and how all of these intricacies play out together. Without further ado, enjoy the episode. It is so juicy and plump, pun slightly intended. Let's go. Ariel, Morgan, thank you so much for joining me on Resonance. Welcome. I am so grateful that this is happening. Yeah, really, really thrilled for our conversation to learn everything that you have to share, both about skin and wellness, but also balance. And I want to dive into kind of the world of nursing as well, as I know both of you are in that space. There's so much. I can imagine. So yeah, let's just give a brief round of intros, who you are, what you do, and we'll dive in.
Yeah, well, I'm Ariel and
Morgan.
We actually met at orientation for our nursing degree. She ran at me in a field when we were playing trust games with a bunch of 18-year-olds. And I was wearing my work uniform at the time. And it's a known beauty business. And she was like, "Are you an esthetician?" And I snubbed her and went, "No." And then we met again.
Now, do you know, you snubbed me and I actually didn't let that be an option.
No, that's true. We just ended up hanging out for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And then we met again, obviously, with the start of classes. And then, ironically, I moved to the same suburb as her. And we just started carpooling. Mm-hmm. And then then we just literally dragged each other through the mud that is nursing school until the very end.
Yeah.
And then in terms of balance, it just started with a LED machine and a want to just pamper each other and not, like, we obviously both worked in the beauty industry, and even with our discounts within the beauty industry, it was an astronomical expense that we just couldn't fathom how we were going to keep it up. And we didn't feel that it was realistic with the current market, and still to this day, similar market, if not worse. And yeah, I think we sat there and went, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
One day.
Well, yeah, there was a night. My parents are very lucky. They have a lovely spa pool, and there was a night, I think just after we'd finished our licensing exam for nursing, and we have always been very kind of big picture goals people, and we were talking about where we wanted our lives to be.
The 10-year plan.
The 10-year plan. And the 10-year plan was that we were going to open a beauty clinic. That was the 10-year plan. And then it was like 6 months later.
I don't think it was 6 months.
The 10-year plan became a 6-month plan.
Months. And yeah, it was so interesting just being like, sometimes the universe really just kind of wakes you up and goes, knock, knock. It's now, like, just wake up, we gotta go. Yeah, it came out of, I was still actively in a beauty clinic treating, and although I loved the treatments and I loved my clients, I couldn't navigate it whilst having a nursing role. And that's, it's very different when you have your own business, because I can just dictate my hours and come down here and, sometimes I clean in my pajamas and things like that. Whereas when you're hired by someone, you don't have that luxury. And I remember there was a night that I was so overwhelmed and so stressed over this beauty clinic job that I nearly fainted. I nearly fainted on the couch. I was so stressed. And I think that was the point that Ariel was like, "No, we're doing our own. That's it. I'm calling it. We're not doing this because you're only staying because of the love you have for skin. So we're doing this at home. End of. Non-negotiable." And I think I resigned a week later.
That's incredible. What a good friend you have.
That week. I think I actually wrote my resignation. We were on the couch, you were dying. I was like, she's force feeding me electrolytes. Yeah.
That's so funny as well, because you were like, "How do I write it?" I quit.
Yeah. That's kind of how it went. But yeah, that's where balance came from. There's a lot. I mean, there's so much more of where balance came from, and there's, we'll talk about really our ethos and where we as humans lie. But that was the fundamentals. That was the real push as to why it was in 2024 and not 10 years.
Yes, that's it.
Because of that.
Yeah.
I think as well, we're both like hyper perfectionist people. So the 10-year plan was like, we weren't going to start until we were at the top.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense when you think about it now from where we sit at this standpoint. But we were like, yeah, in 10 years, we'll save up much money, we'll have our masters, we'll get a business loan, and we'll open up an in-store clinic.
Yeah.
And then having this now as it is, I was like, this is so much less stressful than that idea, because it's so it's not linear, but it is also linear in a sense that we have this freedom to enjoy this space. We have the freedom to learn lessons that aren't going to cripple us. And it's such a beautiful ability to come in, have a passion that's then not going to be almost tainted by economic standards or economic standpoints as we currently stand. So yeah, it's in hindsight, yes, we always say 50-50. 2020, I don't know. Obviously, but it's very much like, even being in here today, it's like, oh yeah, this is way better than the idea of waiting 10 years when we're burnt out as hell after doing a master's and trying to make it. Yeah,
exactly.
And hoping that the economy at that point works for that. Yeah,
that's it. Like, why would you wait, right? And I love how you shared that you both got so clear on kind of the what you were going after and the why, which kind of we'll dive into a little bit more in just a moment. And it's my meditation and manifestation teacher always talks about, you know, when you want to bring something to life, your job is just to get clear on the what and the why. Let the universe take their care of the when and the how. And so for you, even though part of your like 10-year plan was that 10-year time constraint, right? Like Morgan's giggling now because it was like, no, you're just going to do it now. And you're going to do it how it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be at the top. And if anything, it's actually better this way because you're not wasting all that time thinking, oh, the what ifs and I coulda, shoulda, wouldas.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, amazing. And before we dive into, you know, more around balance and skin, I want to ask you one more question, which each of you will probably have your own unique answer to. And that is, what doesn't show up on your official bio?
On our bio?
Yeah, like your bio.
Yeah. What, I think I'm going to have to read our bios. You know what? I'm going to have to read it.
Oh, it's okay. Like if it, you know, I mean, I can think of it at the top of my head, right? It's like nurses, skin, kind of friends. And what's something that people wouldn't know if they, you know, unless they listen to this podcast? Yeah.
Chaos incarnate. We are not, this is a calm space. We are not calm people. We are calm in an energy exchange when we're treating. In our life, we are like, we do hot girl walks. It is the weirdest thing. If you walked past us, we could be talking about dinosaurs, and then you might circle us again, and we're talking about like bowel problems we've noticed in the hospital or something like that. Like,
oh my god,
or a specific smell that's like a certain health product that has,
or like, oh, do you remember that TV show? What was it about? And then I start describing it. She's like, that did not exist.
Yeah,
that's
totally your dream.
That is so funny. And you know, I love that you said that because I actually got that vibe when I first met you, Ariel. It was like after my treatment and we were having this incredible chat and I was like, oh, these girls are very fiery. Like, I think you had dinged your car that day as well, and you mentioned like, oh, we got to go on a hot girl walk, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that is.
We actually did. I was like, move it. I need to, come on, I'm getting a hot chocolate. You're getting out the house with me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we, like, even our social media, and I do think part of that is like it's something I posted about recently, is that I think most of us, especially when we run our own businesses, still really struggle with that perfectionism and curating a specific image. And that is something that I've worked on, is because I do want people to be able to come in here and calm down and everything. And I think for me, you're absolutely right. Like, we are chaos and giggles and all sorts of really special, fun spaces that if that's what someone needs, then we do share it. But I think for me, I do unfortunately hide it sometimes. I had a fair few years ago, but I did have an experience where a co-worker of mine I heard was talking about me. And I do think it was a bit of a jealousy attack, unfortunately, where she had said, oh, I wouldn't want to be Morgan's clients because she might know science, but she doesn't know how to do a relaxing treatment. She's way too much. Like, she's too much noise. I don't want to be her. I don't want to be her client. She might know science, but she doesn't know how to relax. And I think that's why I definitely performatively online, and if you're my first time client, I probably pull back a lot, because some people do just want to relax, and that's totally fine. But you know, that therapist had never actually had a treatment with me and has no idea
exactly
about the space and the energy that I can provide.
That's it. Yeah, and
So
I'm going to go on the record here and say I am your client, right? Like I see Morgan in Balance Skin and Wellness, and it is relaxing AF. Like I loved it, and that was one of the things that I shared, and that kind of sparked, you know, even just this podcast and this conversation, because I spoke to you too, and I can really see the love and the attention and how you've created your skin experience to be what you wish that it would be. You know, you make it such a holistic journey in the sense that it really integrates mind, body, spirit. There's, you know, mindfulness. There is just every little detail. I just remember coming in and I was like, yes, A, this girl knows her science, of course, but also B, like, this is the best facial I've ever had.
Thank you. But yeah, I would say I agree. That's probably isn't what's shown on our social media and on bio is really the giggles. I think occasionally we share it, but really there is so much more color behind
the scenes.
Yeah.
I have a blooper reel that will be coming out soon that shows it a bit more.
Yeah.
Because obviously when you record self-talk, like, you know, you by yourself, funny things do happen. But it's very much, especially in a woman-owned or woman-centric space, there is this fear of the too much. You're too much, you're too vocal, you're too ecstatic, you're too bubbly, you're too this. And it's like, you know, we end up getting put into this category of black cat energy or like, you know, Labrador energy or whatever, where if a woman's too bubbly, she must be dumb. Yeah. Or if a woman's too serious, she must be hateful.
Or a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was going to say the big word. That's like
it's okay. Sure. We'll bleep it out or whatever. I like sneak a swear word in here and there, and I'm like, I hope Apple won't notice.
Yeah. No, it's very hard to navigate that, and I think even to this day we do have a much more understanding culture, but there are still people out there who, and when it's your livelihood, you're like, oh, well, what if I have like 40% of people who love me, but 60% who hate that, and then I've lost clientele. But I do think you attract what you put out, and I think like our friend group is a prime example. We are the weirdest. Like my partner is literally like when you guys together, it's not even words, it is just a barrier of sound. He's like, and he's not even like saying it's a bad thing, he's just like, you guys enter a space together and it is just sound, and it's like this joyous, completely unadulterated being yourself. There's no hiding anything. And our clientele has almost become that as well, where I do have a lot of clients who don't come in to relax. They come in to have like, it's like a margarita session.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They're like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, perfect, love this.
A spiritual margarita session. That's what it's like. Yeah.
And you know how to adapt as well. Like that's the important piece. And I think you really, you know, hit the nail on the head there, Ariel, is you're like, women get judged no matter what they do. Like either you're too much or you're not enough. And so I know you shared that, you know, you kind of positioning yourself in a certain way. And I love that you're also embracing your nature, because like people want to see all of you, and people want to see, you know, the messy, the real, the behind the scenes, and often it's the authenticity that brings us closer together, because it's really a sad world if we're all just putting on a filter and trying to hide behind some false mirror of, you know, just to make sure a coworker doesn't say something mean about us. I mean, I'm sorry that you had that experience, and at the same time, I also hope that she is listening and hears my feedback about what an incredibly relaxing facial I had. So tell me a little bit more about the ethos behind Balance Skin and Wellness, you know, the story of you individually and how you got to where you are today.
I'd like to start with our 3 primary values. They are my brain's like, what? It's safety, compassion, and growth. Those are our 3 primary real core values of balance. And that was something, like you said, as long as you have the what and the why, you can go with anything. And I felt that was pretty much one of the things. We got a whiteboard out and I was like, who are we? Like that before everything else. So those were the 3 things that it's a massive whiteboard. It's like
if you put
Love
it on a like an aisle, an easel,
Yeah,
it would be like a classroom.
yeah, it is ginormous. And those were the three primary things that really came through to us. I think part of that comes through, and you can see it. I think those were probably the things that we needed the most when we wrote those. We had, like I said, we just graduated nursing school. It was such a really vulnerable and daunting time in the transition of leaving nursing school, about to start nursing jobs, and not knowing where you are in the world. And yeah, there was a lot of really unsettled ground.
Also having to be in jobs that necessarily weren't the nicest.
Yeah,
You know, there was a promise, especially in the nursing industry, like obviously not so much anymore. I think everyone's very aware of it. But we were right before the
job freeze.
hire freeze.
Yeah.
So we're still part of the
And
like,
for listeners who don't know what the hire freeze is, can you elaborate on that as well?
Oh yeah, so to help with funding, I'm going to put that in really good quotes because we get to see how that's worked. There was a hiring freeze in the DHBs in order to ease the amount of money that was being taken into healthcare, because obviously we just come out of a pandemic. There's like this whole view of the economic crisis. Unfortunately, what it has done has left, I think at this point, 6 rounds of graduating nurses without a job. I think we've had 500,000 New Zealanders move to Australia, and quite a large population of nurses have also moved overseas. And basically where it's left us is a very strange and scary, understaffed show, big show, where we have more patients than we have staff to take care of it. And you're also talking about, if we're not bringing in fresh generations, there is a bit of a, the nursing community has always had a bit of an eat your young kind of mindset.
Yeah.
And if we can't keep bringing in fresh things, like fresh faces and fresh people with fresh ideas, it does become, and they've been in the industry so long, it does take a toll. And we are told that you get to a point where you do have to sort of leave, but that's not feasible. People can't just retire at 45 or 50
because you're burnt out.
Because you're burnt out. You just have to deal with it.
You just have to keep
But it does create a culture of, this is what we have to do. It doesn't matter if we're understaffed. You just have to pull your weight and get it done.
We did it, so why can't you?
Exactly. But when we were in school, specifically when we were doing ACE, which is basically how you sign up to be on like the Rolodex, that is, what's your job gonna be? Spin the wheel. Woo. We were advertised that we didn't have to go with the place that we'd done our pre-reg at, which I know for me personally, I would have preferred there. Pre-reg is the placement we did before graduation. And then for other people, it was going completely outside of the scope of where you'd done your last 10 weeks. And I did that, and I went into mental health, and I got one interview out of that entire process, and I didn't get a job hire until May.
So that was
So from December.
Well, even before.
Yeah.
So I think
November we finished school.
And so study length rang out in November.
So from November end to May, I was jobless.
Yeah.
And then we both ended up in rehab, which is very heavy on the body. It's older people. They're a lot less mobile, and we don't have the staff. It's 2 to 3 assists per patient for the most part. And you're lucky if you get someone to help you.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is like, nursing is something that I love more than anything in the world. And I love looking after those people. However, I said this to one of my coworkers, because we both have since moved on from those wards. And I said to my coworker, I said, you have to be so reassured in yourself as a person and as a nurse that what you're doing is enough, because I felt every single day that what I was doing wasn't enough, because these are the most vulnerable people in probably our health system. You know, they've got so many comorbidities. They need so much time and attention that there physically was not enough of me. Like, I used to go to work and be like, I wish I was an octopus. Like, I can't divide myself, and that to me was soul crushing, because I'm someone that gives 120%. Not that my coworkers don't. It's just that you have to that's why I said you have to be so reassured and so confident in yourself that even if you didn't do everything, you still did enough and you still made an impact. And for me, I knew that I was leaving feeling, and I was leaving like an hour late every single day because it was like, because nurses, we have to document everything we do. And I would kind of get to the point where none of my documentation would be done because, for example, if I'm sitting at a laptop having to document my 5-6 patients for the day, and I can see the call bell going off and I know my little lady's either in pain or she needs to go to the toilet, do I sit at my laptop and ignore the call bell and so that I can go home on time, or do I make sure that she's okay? Because no one else is going to go and help her. So
the next shift is usually having to do handover.
So
they're unavailable. And usually the point is that we're meant to have support staff for the in-betweens. But again, the cuts were not just nurses. Yeah. HCAs, OTs, all of the support staff that we would need. So it was an impossible task. And even now on the outside, I work in community care. And I still feel like I know that I make an impact because prevention is always better than a cure. But I'm still on the outside thinking about, to be very blunt, it was almost, we were like a respite care or even worse, hospice care, to the point where I had patients come in who were completely independent. They broke their hip. We couldn't find an interim level of care that they required before they went home, or they couldn't even they had to change their level of care and they couldn't get into a rest home or a private hospital or whichever. And they end up, because of our understaffing, contracting pneumonia because they're immobile. They're mobilized and we can't help them. I can get them up once in a shift, or I can try and get them up by myself for each meal of my shift, which is 2. That's an hour total in a day where they're not in a bed. And so I left there with this sense that I had death sentenced people by leaving the hospital system. And it was something I really had to battle within myself, where I was like, I had to leave because my body physically couldn't keep up. I was falling apart. I had days where I woke up and I had to stretch to be able to walk. And it wasn't feasible. And the system wasn't changing. So I left, and it's been 5 months, nearly 6 months, and I still sit there and I'm like, oh my God, I wonder what's happening. And I'm quite lucky now that I have seen on the other end some of my patients who did get out, and they're now patients within the community. And I'm like, oh, thank God. That's still probably 2% of the people who I would have seen in my year in the hospital.
You leaving a hospital isn't a failure on you as a nurse. It's a failure.
No. But yeah, it is. But because we are nurses, because the way our brains work, when you become a nurse, it's because you're a type of way. You don't become a nurse because you don't really give crap.
You care.
Yeah, you don't get through nursing school unless you have some kind of care. I know that there's nurses out there that said, oh, I just did it because my family told me to. You don't make it through unless you care about something. It's not possible. You have weeks and weeks and weeks where you are unpaid, bottom dollar. You work 40 hours a week and then have to go and do your side job to actually pay for things. You don't get through that without having some passion ignited within you along the way. And because we are that kind of people, we sit there and we're like, I need to do everything in my power to fix everything I can while I'm on this earth. And when you have to take a step back and be like, oh crap, I'm actually human and I can't do that. I'm not the circus strongman who can just lift up a patient, wipe down the bed and put him back. It's really confronting, because it's like my brain and my soul has this need to fix everything and help everyone, and I can't. And it's probably, I would say, the hardest part about nursing is coming home every day and being like, I did enough. I did enough. What I did was enough. I made a difference.
Yes.
It's probably the hardest part, despite everything surrounds it.
And so I think that whole story of nursing and how it feels for us. So though you can see now in our values as a business, when you talk about safety So safety,
that makes so much more
compassion,
sense now.
Safety, compassion, and growth.
Something the hospital can't do.
They really came from, like, you know, safety. And I just posted this week about what safety means to us, because again, it's you know, safety in the sense that we're not breaking our backs, we're not hurting ourselves. Everything we make sure is protecting our bodies and us and you. And then it's talking about our physical, like our mental safety, so that we're not leaving this room being like, did I do enough? Because we already do that. So that's kind of where that came from. And then compassion, because again, nursing, I think you live and breathe compassion, but it is compassion, connection, everything. It's all about community. I think compassion becomes community, so it's kind of a big umbrella term. So that's giving back to people, not just in nursing, but how else can we support people, and how can we build greater communities in our villages. And then growth is just, I think my mom is a teacher and your mom's a teacher, and there is that kind of saying about lifelong learners, and if you're not learning, what are you doing?
Exactly. The moment we stop learning, we die.
We're done. Our brains are designed to learn. They love the neurons, they love going. And so growth is, we want to continue to grow in every aspect of our life. And balance has done this beautifully, where it seemed to has just mirrored us. So wherever we've grown, it's grown. And it's been really lovely to see. And then it reflects back on you. We want to see our clients really shine through and grow. And that's because we want to cheer you on and support you. And if there's something that you're struggling with, it's like, okay, I'm perpetual cheerleader. I'm here. Let's go, girl. Let's go. So it is like a shared synergy of growth. And that's, so those are the core three primary values, was safety, compassion, and
and that resonates so strongly, because, you know, even if we talk about the nervous system and stress, like, what does the nervous system crave? It's just safety, compassion, and growth as well, when it is feeling safe and secure. And that is that being kind of like your first value, your first pillar. You know, upon hearing it out of nowhere, someone might be like, I don't get it. But then, like, getting into the crux of your story, and then also understanding just the depth that comes with, and the nurturing space that you create. It is like evident in everything, in the artwork on the walls, in the books on your little bookshelf, in the drink you give your clients at the end of the session. It does shine through every single step of the customer's experience. And I just like really congratulate and applaud both of you on that, because you're doing a lot. You have done a lot. I mean, you are still nursing while navigating this business, hospital or not, it is still nursing, right? And so, pun slightly intended, but I would love to ask you, how do you balance it all?
Honestly, it isn't always easy, obviously. But it has a big space between, luckily there's only two of us, so we don't have to navigate other employees, which is great. And there comes a place where you have to come from a place of really deep understanding. Like, you know, if I come in and the bed's not made, and I know Morgan has a client, I'll just make the bed, because obviously she lives between here and her partner's house. And I have no idea if she had a rough sleep that night. And, you know, it's having that moment of being like, I'll just do this one task that takes me 5 minutes. And it's like having that ability to come into a workspace where you're not going to be throttled by your manager because you didn't put the hot towels on. Like, you know, I found this in a myth. It's like, again, compassion, I guess. Shared respect.
Yes.
But also, I think for me personally, so I work Monday through Friday, and then I returned. I used to be a professional, semi-professional pole artist and circus artist, and I had an injury, and then obviously school, and then you know, destroying my back in nursing. I took quite an extensive break, and then recently I had a flare up of my back injury that put me out for like 4 months, pretty much the entire time of my new job. And I've just recently got back into it, and I like to say hobbyist because I don't put the expectation on that it's for anyone bar me. I'm not doing it to perform. I'm not doing it to showcase myself. I'm doing it because it gives me something back.
Yeah.
And then but that then leads to, I now then work Monday through to Friday. I teach on a Saturday morning. I train throughout the week. And then if I have a client here on Sunday, that's also another day where I have to switch on a bit. But for me in this space, I walk in and I feel like the space creates a give back that allows me to sit in that and be like, this is giving me something. It's not an income, but it's giving me something. It's giving me this, it's a sense of pride. It's a sense of, like, you know, especially I feel like neurodivergency, we're kind of told in our childhood that we should manage our expectations on what we have the ability to do. And this is a very evident space of like, haha, stuff that.
Yes, let me show you.
So the balance comes from an understanding of what gives back and what takes. And work is a constant change of where you'll have days that give back and you're like, oh, I smashed that. I helped that patient. They're so much better off because of what I did. And then you have days where you're just like, oh my God. And balance is never like that. It's constantly, you walk into the room, it doesn't matter what client you have that day, not that we don't like any of our clients, they're amazing, but you walk in and you just go, shit, I did this, like damn, okay, like our degrees are on this wall to our side here, which you can't see, and they're like in these giant white frames, and in the middle is a mirror for people to look at themselves, and it's such an evident thing of being like, here's our achievements, and then look at your face, that's also
oh my gosh, I love that. That is so good.
But that's for me where I find balance. But then you're also a shift worker, so you would have a different perspective on that as well.
I think I was talking to someone the other day and she was like, well, I think you're absolutely crazy. Like, I think you're crazy, like genuinely, because again, similar to Ari, we just like to do it all. And so for me, I work in the hospital, so I'm a shift worker. I did move out of rehab and I work in gynecology, so I'm a women's health nurse, which to me, that's everything I wanted, and it's what I got into nursing school to do. And yes, some days are really difficult, but I'm so much happier and healthier from making the move. That's my niche, that's my field, that's what gets me up in the morning. It's like I live and breathe women's health and working with women, so it's such a privilege to be able to do that at the moment. Very, very grateful. And similar to what I said, it gives back and it takes, depending on the shift and depending on what's going on. So yes, I do shift work as a nurse, obviously same. I'm here in balance. With shift work, I can kind of take clients more throughout the week depending on what clients' availability is, so that is a perk. And sometimes I tutor some nursing students because again, I really, really enjoy giving back. I think it's such a rewarding session, and I think it also challenges me. It's like, again, same thing, lifelong learner. I think when you're going back to nursing basics or looking at case studies, it really challenges you. And I think that I actually think in nursing itself, I think there's a lack of not professional development, because we have so much professional development that we have to do,
but it's a tick box.
It's a tick box, and I think that if we actually were challenged more, I think we'd really enjoy it. Because again, you do have, I'm not all nurses, but you do have nurses that have been there for decades and they have not changed, and I think that there needs to be more frequent like sessions where you work together and you brainstorm. So yeah, I really enjoy tutoring for that reason, because one, I think it really challenges me, and two, because I love seeing people get it. You know, I love seeing people kind of connect and go, oh my God, yeah, I see it. And I love seeing that spark in people. It's really exciting. And then, I'm at my partner's house and he's got 2 beautiful children. So I'm very, very lucky to be a stepmom, which is like its own exciting pathway and its own, not challenges, I don't like that word, but you know, like moments where I'm like, oh my God, I breathe.
Intensity, maybe, is the right word.
I was going to say challenges is not the right word.
Well, kids also take time. You don't get to walk in the door when you have children at home and sit down and do what you want to do first. It's that they are always a priority, and I think that is something that should be recognized. Because when you walk in the door, you don't get to just dump your bag down and sit down and go, okay, give me a second. They are on 24/7 energy,
which is amazing. And it's genuinely not giving me purpose, because I have so much purpose and there's so much to me without it. But like, I think when you have children watching you and learning from you, it really ignites something in you where you're like, everything I do is influencing you and inspiring you, and I want to see you just grow and flourish. And so that's such a privilege. And yeah, it's so exciting and so magical. Like for me, I'll share a story. I think it was last week, my stepdaughter, she's 9, and she lost her tooth. And she's at that age where you're like not quite believing it. She goes, I don't know if the tooth fairy is real. I think it's just you guys giving me money. And I went, well, I don't want to give you money. I think Daddy wants to give you money. And she's like, oh. And then she was like, oh, okay. And then I asked her, I was like, what do you think the tooth fairy looks like? Do you think she's sparkly? And she goes, yeah, I think she must be sparkly. She goes to bed. And so we're like scrounging around the house trying to find $1 for starters.
Oh my God.
I was like, I really. And so then I'm like, you know what, I really want to make this magical. So I have like my Fenty lip gloss, right? And I cover this $1 coin in Fenty lip gloss and then dab it, slide it under the pillow. I have a shift the next morning, so I'm up at crack of dawn, don't see her. And then I got a text that was like, she spent all morning talking about how the real tooth fairy came to her because her $1 was sparkly. And I was like, oh. And to me, it's like, it's when you get to be able to provide magic like that, like in her world, the tooth fairy like delivered her money, the real tooth fairy. So I think when you're providing magic like that, it's so exciting and so special. But yeah, I think all of those things, it is, like I said, my friend said, you are crazy, and I was like, yeah, slightly. But I think for me, I'm so blessed in the sense that I have some of the most amazing people in my life.
Yes.
I could actually talk about you for days, but I won't go there because I'll cry if I talk about Ariel.
Tears are welcome on the podcast. It wouldn't be the first time. It's definitely not the last. Okay, just a quick break here. If you love these kinds of conversations, you might also enjoy my newsletter. It's like a breath of fresh air in your inbox. Slow, seasonal, and always real. An email that you actually want to read for a change. If that sounds like your cup of tea, you can sign up below at liveandhealth.co or through the link in my bios at Live and Health. Now let's get back to the episode.
But yeah, and so for me, finding balance is because I've been blessed with some of the most supportive and kind people. So my friends and my partner, he's wonderful. And I think being able to really rely on people, and it takes time to learn to rely on people. And then once you find that, I think it's incredibly special. So yeah, it's not all perfect. The day that I saw you, you're right. I thanked my car, and that was a week before my postgrad assignment was due, and I definitely had I'd given myself too much to do and just completely spaced out when I was reversing my car because I was stressed about too many things.
And you also had your literal driving exam the
next day. Yeah, I was getting my full license.
She said to me, she's like, I'm just going to cancel. I was like, don't. You need to do it because it doesn't mean anything. I'm a fully licensed driver. Sam, my partner's a fully licensed driver. We hit shit all the time. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Still do it because the more you think about it, you're going to go another year. She did it. She passed it. It was fine.
Yes, girl.
But it's one of those things where it's like you have a moment, and especially for you, driving is like we make fun of her, but it is genuinely a sore spot for her. And so when she has these moments, it's like it's not like an adult being like, oops, I did a oopsie. It's her being like, you're right, I'm trashed. And then I have to pull back and be not jokey friend, and I have to be friend that's like, no, genuinely, we all do it. It's fine. Like, and look, funny, weird side quest. I actually am like a part of her driving.
Yeah, you taught me to drive.
And one of the biggest things I said to her is the more anxious you are getting into this car, the more unsafe you're going to be. So that was the biggest thing is like she used to turn corners like at the slowest pace. I was like, you're going across 2 lanes of traffic, hoof that crap. You have a turbo, get it, move. And I think that is actually very depictive of our relationship where Like, I'm not necessarily self-assured. I have my own insecurities, but I'm very internal with how I navigate them, and I'm very much like I will speak about it, but I'm a Leo, so I'm of a mindset where it's like I can fix it, or I can do this myself. Whereas Morgan's a Gemini, so there's like there's that side of her that's like, well, I've done the bad thing, or I've done something that's not, you know, how it's meant to go. So like this must be like a sign or bad news or whatever. It's a reflection of you personally. And that's when my like ego energy comes out and goes, well, no, because that's just a human experience.
Yes, exactly.
Like, where it's like in the scheme of things, it's fine.
Yeah.
And we do balance.
We do.
Like that.
Yeah.
And when you were telling the Tooth Fairy story, it also reminded me, talking about our village or our community, we have a friend group, like I said, completely authentic, play mermaids. I'm 30.
Oh my
we
God.
still go to the beach and we play mermaids. Like, we do not sit on, we suntan, but like from like maybe 5 seconds, we're back in that water. We want to be submerged, we want to flap about. Cartwheels, handstands. We retaught ourselves how to tumble on the beach.
Yeah, shuffle purpose.
Which we were
Really shouldn't have done. But
no, we have not built our bodies that way anymore.
not for day anymore.
Not made of gelatin, but yeah, like that's how what we have created within our space as well. Is this is a space where the inner child is accepted and should be allowed that space. I don't think because you're an adult you need to be serious.
Oh God, no.
I don't see when that correlation actually comes into play, because I have a mortgage, but I go and twizzle on a pole in high heels. It doesn't actually affect how that navigates.
You get to be both.
Yeah, I'm a nurse, so I have to, I have to hold space for people, and I'm treating people who are double my age, and they have, there's a give and take of respect, but there's an autonomic respect of authority that I'm in a medical position. And still, I say slay in the hallway at work.
Yeah.
It's those things where it's like, we're human beings, and so we're not a black and white entity, and that's for us how our authenticity plays out and our relationship plays out and how we go about it. And I think it's actually, for me and my childhood, how I grew up, this is a completely healing scenario and healing situation where I am like, I don't ever question my integrity or my worth within this group.
Yeah,
I know where I am.
Yeah.
And that is, I feel, especially in a woman experience, so special.
Yeah.
So powerful.
I think both of us, the way that we quote unquote balance is, again, going back to connection and purpose and people.
That's it.
That's probably the way.
And
I love our segues. The segues.
They're perfect, right? Because as you say, you are such multifaceted, incredible super women. There's like a kaleidoscope of these different roles that you play throughout your day, throughout your week, and throughout your life. But be it, as female entrepreneur, as nurse, as stepmother, as, teacher of pole dancing, which I think is super cool. So much respect. I couldn't do it because the skin burns were just too much for me. So, all right. So hands down. Yeah. But what really shone through as both of you were sharing, how you kind of find balance throughout your week, because you've got a full life, right? But that life is like filling up your cup. So from both of your stories and both of the examples that you gave, there are specific things where you're like, it lights me up from the inside, whether it's the little moments of magic that you get to create, whether it's giving back to the community, whether it's being playful, or whether it's exchanging with your client in that nurturing space. And the fact that you came back to the support network and how important that is also such a gold mine, because unfortunately we live in a really lonely world. And to have the depth of friendship that the two of you have, and also from what it sounds like, your friend group and your partners, etc., surrounding you, it's a real rare find, and it like fills me up from the inside to see both of you get to have this experience. And I think that solid foundation is what's enabling you to then bring things like balance, skin, and wellness to life. Because I feel you girls, like I also, I work part-time. I've moved back to 3.5 days to give myself space for building my business, and at the same time just graduated uni again, did like 3 yoga teacher trainings, like building all these things. My weekends, it's like, okay, well, what are you doing? It's like, I'm building this quiz to get people on my priority list. And at the same time, it fills up my cup, and I know that it's going to help people just like you. So people might call you crazy. They might, I often get that judgment. I don't know about you, but sometimes people are like, oh, well, you're still doing so much. Aren't you burning yourself out? But burnout isn't how much you do. Burnout is what you do. You can be burnt out working 3 days a week in a job that makes you miserable, and you can be thriving, going wild during a launch. And don't get me wrong, of course, you need times to rest and restore, and it all comes back to kind of that harmony. But there's more to burnout and stress than just the time spent on something.
Well, I think as well, when we go back to like actual wellness culture, it's not like, yes, rest and recovery is an aspect, but that's why we talk about sleep cycles. If you're sleeping every night, that is rest and recovery. Me having 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon to just sit there and do nothing doesn't necessarily equal rest, because realistically, when people talk about their downtime, they're absorbing content.
Yes,
the society we're in, it's content.
Thank
absorption.
you.
And
yes,
active rest is still applicable. If you are talking about the wellness space, we are not sedentary creatures. We're not designed for that. We evolutionarily are not designed to sit for hours. It's like, they always talk about like sitting desk jobs and cancer, but there is an aspect to that is true. And if you have a job that fulfills you, or you have something that fulfills you, and I know the luxury of having a job that fulfills you is in itself a luxury. It is not doable. If you're in an economic strife and you're just doing what you can to get food on the table, bless be you, because holy man, like I could not, my soul, like I would struggle. But then like my father is a great example. He left the Navy and went to work for Australia Post, and it's sort of like a family thing. They all did it. Like for some reason, Australia Post is their legacy. It's really strange. But he recently was like really struggling with his mental health because he hated his job. He was like, it's soul sucking. It gives me nothing. And then he got into a really down period, and my mum was like, well, go back to school. I earn enough. It's fine. Just go find something that you want to do. And then he sat back and he went, actually, you know what? I'm at the final stage of my career where I get to have weekends off. I have long service leave. I have so much time that I can play with to be with my family. And that to me is more important than fulfilling maybe even like what he maybe perceived as an ego task.
Scratching that itch.
Yeah. And I said to him, and even my partner's been the same, where when I first began nursing, he was like, oh, I really wish I was in a job where I could help people. And I said, well, why aren't you in a job where you could help people? And he goes, well, I'm a Sparky. And I went, you're a leader naturally. And I was like, and you're in an industry that keeps filtrating this real like toxic masculine
oh my
hierarchy.
God, don't get me started.
You could adapt that. He's had female apprentices, he's had young male apprentices, and as much as he jokes with the boys, he's also an example of someone who is really soft. He loves our 2 cats like they are the most precious things on this earth, and he is not subtle about it. He loves me with so much devotion. It's like there is no like, oh, my missus wants this, my missus wants that. He will literally be like, I'm not going out on a Friday night, I want to spend time with my partner. And he is so unabashedly that way that I said, that is helpful. You are an older male role model that is able to turn the tides on how people are perceiving the masculine role. Yes. And I think that is valuable in itself. And I think that is where we talk about wellness, is it's not about what you do, it's about how you're doing it and what it means to you and what you gather from it. And that's the thing with the give and take. If you constantly feel like something's taking from you, you need to find where it can give you something back, or what gives you something back. And for us, it's hot girl walkies, doing skin, movement. Like mine's pole. She loves the gym. I loathe the gym, but I have to go because I'm hypermobile. But it's like one of those things where you just have to sit back, take a moment, and stop thinking about all the things you should be doing, because it's what you think is right, or what should be your path, whether it be having kids, getting in a high-paying job, blah 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 blah. Think about what means something to you, and for a lot of people, I think it is family, and it can't be their job because they don't have the luxury. And so for them, it's I get to put food on the table so that I can sit at my table and be with my children. And I think that that is a great way to look at life, because unfortunately the way our
Western society,
the society has been built, we have to work 40 something hours a week, or we have to pay a certain amount of money. There's no, like, I can't trade in clamshells for my mortgage, like I have to live by the rules that have been set out, but I don't have to play by the same standard pathway.
That's it. You can still stay in integrity with yourself, as you said earlier, and even if it is a conscious choice like it is for your father, because it enables other things in his lifestyle, etc., then it is that conscious choice, and you find a way to work with it, right? And the thing is, like, even if you do for your living what you love, which is like the greatest gift on this planet, right? Which both of us, or like all three of us, are heading towards, there's still going to be blows and stressors, and shit's going to hit the fan, and things are going to happen. And so it's like, how centered in yourself can you be? How grounded, how well supported and well-rounded can you be as a person to be able to deal with it when ish hits the fan? Right. And that kind of is quite the important thing to keep in mind when we reflect on what you shared. And on that note as well, I want to pivot and kind of just have us nerd out on the skin science side of things, because you two are like a wealth of knowledge. And for the average lay woman or layman who may be listening, how might things like, giving more than receiving, or stress or burnout be showing up in people's skin? Because many people don't realize that it's like the largest organ of the body. So, come on, ladies, give it to me. I can see Morgan's like,
No,
do you have another 3 hours?
Yeah, like, how much time have we got? I never say it directly to someone, but I can see exactly what's going on in your skin. And I'm not going to say that, because I think it's really, I always let my client lead, because what I see in your skin might not be your priority.
And
So
they're not necessarily flaws.
No, not at all.
They're environmental stresses.
Yeah, I just see this, but they're not flaws. But
give me some examples.
Well, I think for me, the first thing I notice when someone's under the pump, you don't have that luminosity. Your skin is not bouncy or glowing. And again, that's not a flaw. You're stressed. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah, and your cells are using vital energy to do things like, kidney function, digestion, stuff like that. It doesn't give a crap about blood flow to your face.
No,
that's
not
it.
at all. Yeah. So I think one of like the really key things to remember, and that will show across multiple skin concerns, is that especially there's 3 different phases of stress, which I can kind of picture me writing it down in my textbook. Can't remember it, but it's basically like acute stress. It's like stress response, healing response, or chronic stress.
Yeah.
And so if you are in this phase where you are just stress, you physically cannot heal. So this is talking about wound healing, but you're also looking at, let's say, for example, you come to me and you're really struggling with stubborn breakouts. Your skin cannot respond, it cannot heal. So you might get one little spot and it be there for 4 weeks because the body is like, girl, I have nothing. I cannot help you.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to keep your heart beating here.
Literally, like, I've got these other really, like Ari said, I've got significantly more important organs to look after than healing your spot. So that it will show. And so, I remember looking at my own skin, and I was talking to another uni student when I still worked in a clinic, and I was like, oh, your skin looks like mine. We are in the same boat, girl. And that so in that case, when I'm treating skin like that, I'm not thinking, okay, so this moisturizer is really going to help you. Don't get me wrong, it probably will. However, it's really not going to make the biggest difference. So
you can use all of the topical treatments in the world. It is not going to fix anything if your internals are wacky dacky.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank
Sure, I can help you.
You cannot buy your way out of stress.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not going to work. So I think that's, like, it will present in a multitude of ways, whether that's stubborn breakouts that just won't heal, whether that's kind of like the technical word for it's called sallow, and I don't like that word because I always used to get called sallow skin. Like, I'm just,
or you say, oh, you look dull.
That's nice dull skin.
Whereas I say your skin's lacking like color, and it feels
And
like
buoyancy, just whatever you said you would want it to be. It's lacking that glowiness.
Just your glow's a bit dim, but clearly you're stressed. So so that would be what I would see, and obviously sometimes you can see the dehydration in people's skin because quite often I'm sure if you're stressed you're not really well hydrated and beaming great. So usually it's kind of like a multitude
Coffee
of,
overconsumption.
Yeah, exactly. So then you've got so dehydration quite often looks, I always say, like, you compare a grape to a raisin. So a lot of the time people think that they're aging, and I'm like, no, you're just dehydrated, so we're just gonna shove you some love and go drink your water. So those are the types of things that we would see. Is just really like, I call it tired and a bit sad.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, we need to structure. Okay,
Yeah, that's it.
build you back up. So.
That's it.
And then there's, of course, like the nutrition, which is obviously a passion point of mine. I mean, it's like you literally are what you eat, and the thoughts you think, the way you move your body, like getting a good sweat, detoxifying, right? Like we detoxify through the skin as well. So it is just, so interesting. And I remember when I first saw you, I think I just was like submitting my final assignment or something, and like planning this big photo shoot, and it was all just a lot. And you're like, so I can tell you're a bit stressed.
Just a bit. I will say, the next time I saw you, your skin was so much more vibrant, and I remember looking and being like, hey.
And it's also like, I want to acknowledge that it's a slow process. And I think we spoke about that in our session as well, right? That like people expect these miracle cures. And unfortunately, we have a whole multi-billion-dollar industry founded on that. It's like promising you that glowy, dewy skin, and here, take this serum and you're going to look like just like Eva Longoria, who's had like 3 rounds of Photoshop and Botox. But the thing is, it takes time. Like it took time for our bodies to get that depleted. It's going to take time for the body to heal. You'll know this better than I do, Morgan. Like, how long does it take for the skin cells to actually renew?
Yeah, so it also depends on your age.
There you go.
So yeah, it actually slows down as we age. So like typically under 20s, it's about a 28-day skin cycle. So from the bottom of your epidermis has got 5 layers. Epidermis is the very like thin, crusty, it's the hard skin cells. There's 5 layers, and essentially the role of the epidermis is it just gradually goes up and up and up and up, and it's like sheds, pulls up
like a snake. It's so cool.
There are obviously lots of other functions to the epidermis other than just shedding. There's like protection, but there is some kind of histamine responses, and like there's lots of other cool stuff. But from 20 years old, right, 28 days. So again, if you come to see me at the start of the month and then 2 weeks later you're like, what? You don't know what you're talking about.
Stupid facial didn't do anything.
Miss ma'am, you gotta work with me here. So 28 days is like your minimum. And then obviously as we age, our skin cells, as the rest of the body, it starts to kind of slow down,
just not producing as the same rate as they would. Like obviously new cell turnover is just slower. I think it's like there were studies that showed after 25 you like pretty much don't produce any new fat cells. So it's like you can imagine when you start talking about like sunken features and stuff like that. So it's like you have the fat cells you have, you can either plump them or you can shrink them. And then it's the same with skin cells, although I will say skin cells have a bit more of a durability in terms of like collagen and elastin and all that stuff. But in terms of aging, there's like you can't fully beat the clock. You can replace what you've lost with like additives if you want to. But for the most part, it's I know there's like biohacking and stuff like that people talk about recently, and that's a very big thing. I personally don't have the willpower for that. So in an average human lifespan, you're not going to ever gain that ability to reproduce those cells at that rate.
There is, like, we talk about the skin cells slowing down and like it not shedding as fast. There are like things that we can do in treatment. So for example, LED light therapy, it actually triggers ATP, so that's your like energy source. So ATP production actually makes your skin cells wake up and produce things. So that's, for example, LED is non-invasive. Most people can have LED. And then in terms of encouraging skin cell removal and helping with the skin cell turnover, you've got your chemical peels, but also just home grade exfoliants, so lactic acid and your cleansers and things like that. So there are, again, things to assist, because and that's why they've come about, is because we know that as we age it slows down, and then that's how sometimes we notice things on the skin. So that's kind of like I was taught that if you're going to point something out in someone's skin, you need to be able to have a solution.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's not very nice. And that was, again, I've been on the receiving end of many facials in my training and everything. And it's a really awful sensation when someone, I remember people looking at my skin 3 times a week when I was in training and being like, okay, so I'm seeing sallow skin and dehydration and breakouts across here, end up, facial. Not talking to me, not saying, okay, well, this is what we're going to do here. This is what we're going to do here.
Yeah.
Let's look at this. And so I think it's really important that we do talk to you and explain to you. And I think, that's probably what I said to you was like, I'm looking at stress. And I remember looking at like what I was calling like a histamine reaction.
Yeah.
Not a histamine reaction, but there was a lot of histamine in the skin. Where I was seeing a lot of
and I've got a whole history with histamine and stuff. Like I dive into it in my story. So yes,
I was like, there's a lot of histamine going on. And I remember being like, again, I think this is going to ease off as the stress eases off. But here's what we can do today. And I think, as long as you're transparent and communicative and really open with, I'm like, don't get me wrong, I know a lot about skin and I love skin, but I'm not an expert on you. And I'm not going to come in and dictate you and assume that I know better than you and your body. I think that's a huge.
Also, when we talk about skin, we talk about the blueprint, not like so many people have individual, like some people have like, what is like ungeneralized urticaria, and it's like, well, we don't know what causes it, we just know that they break out in hives, and that's sometimes what medicine is as well, where it's like and that's for us with skin. It's like I might have someone, like I have clients who are like, I cannot use retinol, the purge never goes away, and I'm like, okay, like, and they're like, but everyone says I need retinol. Like, look, retinol is a beautiful product, and it's it is great for cellular turnover. It is great as you age. It does really do, and it's quick. That's why it's so big and like advertisable, marketable, is because it is quick. But we have products that have fruit enzymes that still have a turnover rate. They're just slower.
Yeah,
it's not. And same as like a peel and like, having a salicylic or lactic acid based cleanser that you use a couple of times a week should be sufficient, as long as you are hydrated, you're rested, and you have good like omegas in your diet. Like, it's honestly like, and I mean, you're a nutritionist as well, so we stress so much about the digestive system. If you are noticing, and like people don't realize this, you should be going at least daily. It's actually super uncommon in this society for people to have regular bowel motions. I even saw someone.
So wild.
I saw this woman the other day complaining. She was like saying she was on a full-on lecture. She was talking to a giant audience. I was like, who gave her a microphone? She goes, did you know that fiber actually doesn't break down in the gut? And I'm sitting there going, that's literally the point.
Wow.
so the reason it doesn't do that is because we have soluble and insoluble, and hopefully with soluble is it's going to draw all that water into your gut,
and it's going to help move all the toxins out as well.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it's literally crap out of your body. That's what it is.
in the hospital, if you're day 3, we're pumping you full of laxatives, we're shoving enemas up you. Day 3,
Go.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
know people, personally as well, are like, it's day 4, I'll be right.
Oh my
You know what I mean?
goodness. Really? I mean, like, wow. As
She's
personally,
like,
I'm like,
she's like,
every day, at least twice
Yeah.
a day, generally. Like, it depends. Again, like your digestion speaks to you in the language. Yeah.
Deliberately made, I was like, I'm feeling like I'm having hormonal cycle problems and I'm feeling really, really bloated. So I made a Mediterranean meal because I knew, you know, like we've got chickpeas, chicken, broccoli, eggplant. And I was like, cool,
Yum.
I am going to introduce soluble fiber
Yeah.
to my body
That's
so
it.
that it does what it needs to do. And I don't need to have a detox tea or a artificial laxative at this point, because I, like, you know, when we do it in the hospital, it's because these people are on medications that would increase risk of hospital food, which, I don't even know how that works.
Oh
But,
my God. Don't get me started.
if you are a relatively healthy individual, you can do most of that with just how you choose to eat in a day.
And
I'm not
hydrate
saying, like,
and move
Yeah.
and stress.
I'm not saying like, oh, you should, you know, you should eat this way or you should have this diet. Like, we talk about it in name of our business is really perfect because it comes up so often. Balance. And it's like, okay, so yes, I love McDonald's. I'm a Big Mac girl. Like, I get 2 burgers from McDonald's when I have it. Jesus, I'm like bashing things. But that's, for me, I'm like, okay, well then I will have McDonald's on a Thursday night and I just won't have it the next night and the night after. But then if I do have it 2 nights in a row, I'm also like, okay, so I know that this is going to have effect. And I just listen to my body and go from there.
Yeah.
And it's the same as, like, we're not expecting people, because, like, we were even talking about it. If you have endometriosis or PCOS or stuff like that, there is actually proven diets that you could stick to that could basically make you non-symptomatic. They are so hard and super restrictive. And for people's mindsets, that's not doable. So it's like, okay, what symptoms really bother you? Because you could be, you know, really lean and like have like really glowy skin and you could feel amazing, but you would have to be in a restrictive lifestyle. And I like,
and it's also a
every now and
conscious
again.
choice, you know, like, and
if you
it's
can
your
do it,
choice.
damn.
Yeah.
But like, and I could recommend it if you wanted to try, or like, but for me, it's more about how I would implement little things into my
That's
diet,
it.
like Mediterranean. I'm Italian, and like, you know, Italians eat so much faster, but they also have a lower, like most Mediterranean countries and stuff like that have a lower rate of Alzheimer's. So it's like this thing of like, you know,
Which I think has also been linked to a sense of purpose. So
yes, because
Yes.
they eat to socialize, they walk to eat, and they drink to socialize, and all this stuff. So
Blue zones, right?
correlation. Yeah, correlation to
But
purpose.
for me, it is very much like when I talk to my clients about their skin, I'm not so much like, hey, I'm not concerned about all of these issues you have with your face. I'm like, well, how have you been? Like, one of my clients is also a shift worker, and I'm like, have you been drinking water? Even like Morgan, one day I just said, she was like, look at my face. And she was like, what's the problem? What am I missing? And, you know, we're like, she's probably more knowledgeable than me. And I'm going, why the hell are you asking me? And then I looked at her and went, are you cleaning? And she went, oh, no, there's your problem.
Oh my
I
God.
had a week. I was so tired. Our job was so tired. So many shifts, and I was working really late shifts, and I was coming home at like midnight, half midnight, nearly 1 in the morning every single day, and I didn't want to clean my face before bed.
Says the skin specialist.
And so I looked at her, and I was like, ew, what is in my face was just.
She's like asking me, she's like, should I like get on complete pigment? Should I do problem skin? I don't know what to keep doing. And I was like, have you tried washing it?
Yeah, that makes it.
Here's some advice for you, sister. Oh my gosh, I love that. And ladies, this has been so much fun. I've got no idea where the time went because we're like, there's so much more that I know you have to share, and we might have to just do a second round because there's like a lot of juiciness. I know, part two. But for today, you know, I would love to ask you my signature question that I ask everyone, and you each get your own answer. Maybe they're the same, maybe they're not. But if there was one thing that resonated with the listeners from today's episode, what do you hope that one thing would be?
I think for me, it would be about talking about what actual wellness is, like talking about active rest and stuff like that. And it's not always the perpetrated yogi lifestyle that is influenced to us. Not the actual real yogi lifestyle, like the Instagram version, but talking about what wellness means to you. And I think that's something that's really important. Is I would encourage anyone to have a moment, put your phone away, sit down and actually think about what drives you, what fills you, what's draining you, and think about how you can make small, adaptable and realistic changes to better your path and to better your inner health.
I love that.
I think mine's quite similar in the sense that I think that it's hard because I want to say, like, I hope that people can learn again to sit down and find your purpose, but I think that's such a scary feeling. I think so many people, especially like I'm late 20s, and I think there's so many people around me that feel really lost, and I mean really lost. And so I think the words, because I want to say, hey, like, sit with yourself and find your purpose, find what lights you, that's really scary because people feel lost. They're like,
it's really confronting.
There's no, I don't have a purpose, and I've seen that in a lot of people in my life. So I think to get there, I would say sit in the ugly, learn to be authentic. And I think that is incredibly difficult in a society where we're pigeonholed into labels, where being authentic is actually shamed. I think it's really truly shamed. But I think authenticity in its natural state is so raw and so beautiful, and it's such a privilege that I get to sit in that state. And so I think if you're not at the point where you're able to look at maybe what your purpose is, sit in the ugly, get authentic. I said to someone in my own family, like maybe about 6 months ago, I said, like, he was struggling and didn't feel like he had genuine people in his life and everything. And I was like, but you're not being genuine. So it's hard. Like, it is really hard. But that's probably, if I could say one thing to actually build off that, because again, I fully agree. I think finding your purpose, finding what fills your cup, what lights you up is very, very important, and that's going to set your entire well-being off. But if you're not there yet, start with getting ugly and start with being authentic, and look in the mirror.
That's it. Yes. It brings people together, and it takes someone to have the courage to be the first one to step into that place of vulnerability and authenticity. And that's where the magic happens. The magic doesn't happen behind the TikTok filters and the polished videos or anything. It is right there in the present moment, right here, right now. And I am so grateful for both of you, because I feel like that's what both of you brought to today's conversation. You know, you were fully yourself, fully authentic. I love the tangents. Like, but there's so much juice in there, and there is so much more to explore. And so if people want to learn more about you, people want to work with you, where can they find you?
Is balance_skin and wellness. To be honest, it's mostly on Instagram because I just try and keep it simple and not overwhelm myself. So hit us up there. I think we were also talking that if anyone listened to this and did want to come catch up with us, there'll be like a 10% discount.
Amazing.
So obviously we want to see you guys and celebrate your podcast as well. So they could just reference maybe the podcast or the podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll come up with something that they can reference. Yeah. Oh, yay! How generous. Thank you.
Come hang out with us. But yeah, definitely Instagram, message us, hang out with us. It's so fun.
Yes, I highly recommend. As I said, I've been to many professional facial skin treatments before, and Balance Skin and Wellness is by far the best experience I have had. So couldn't recommend it anymore. And thank you, thank you, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I'm so grateful for the two of you. I cannot wait to see the empire that you will build one step at a time. And I am sending so much love your way.
Thank you. It was
Thank
so
you so
lovely to
much.
be on this. Thank you so much.
All right. What a great conversation. I don't know about you, but I am filled up. My cup is full, just as full as these ladies' cups from all the incredible things that they are doing. And, some of my key takeaways that I wanted to share with you were, one is the big one that really stuck out for me at the beginning of our conversation is don't wait for the perfect moment. Like, just do it. Whatever it is that you're thinking about, whether you're wanting to try something new, you're wanting to go outside of your comfort zone, you want to, I don't know. You've got dreams. I don't know what they are. I've got my own dreams and I'm chasing them. And you can chase yours too. You don't need to wait until you've got all your ducks in a row, because here's the secret. I'm going to let you in on a secret that people don't talk about. No one ever gets their ducks in a row. We're all just pretending here. We're all just doing the best we can with what we know, the way we know how. So you may as well just get started now. And the other pieces that really stuck with me from that conversation were, the notion of chronic stress, which obviously is my bread and butter. That's what I am really passionate about, helping women and conscious humans heal from and navigate through. And you heard the lady say it. You physically cannot heal if you are in a state of chronic stress. If you are experiencing issues like skin, like things that are coming up on the visible surface of your body, they're not a priority for your body to heal if it's doing the best it can to keep your blood pumping and your lungs breathing. So, a lot of the time, and this was me back in the past as well, when I felt like stress was just normal. It was just this kind of, oh yeah, of course, everyone talks about being less stressed, whatever. I used to be this judgy Judy about it too. But now I understand that actually, I need to heal it. There is so much more to life. You can live such an incredible, thriving, vibrant life, but it's really hard to do that if you're in a state of chronic stress. So even if just that awareness kind of starts to simmer and land and percolate for you, that would be incredible. And I will link up below the show notes the discount code for your Balanced Skin and Wellness appointment. If you are in Auckland, I highly recommend that to be your next action step. Just go in and book, use your 10% off. The details will be in the show notes. I honestly could not recommend Morgan and Ariel enough. They are incredible. They are now the only facial skin experts that I see. And if you are not in Auckland, I would just encourage you to do a little bit of research around who might be a local business in your area that you perhaps feel open to supporting. I would look for people who have the same ethos and values like Morgan and Ariel. So, really coming from a holistic wellness lens and working with natural and scientifically backed and proven products that are good for you, that are not going to cause you more harm through some toxic ingredients. So just be really careful with what you put in and on your body. And if you have any questions and you need to vet some people or some products, I'm sure that you could just DM Morgan and Ariel and they'd be more than happy to help you out. So their details will be linked below this episode as well. And if you want to hear a little bit more about my story and sort of the stress response that was visible on my skin, and actually a big flare up, which was linked to a histamine response and stress and chronic stress and burnout, I'll link those episodes down below for you as well, alongside another conversation that aired on this podcast with my old naturopath a little while ago. And I feel like that conversation really complements this episode beautifully because it provides another perspective to skin and stress and women and cycles. So you'll find all of this juicy detail in the show notes below. In the meantime, just pay attention, like have a look at your skin, and maybe you can even intuitively be like, oh, what does it need right now? Am I maybe a little bit dehydrated? Maybe you're like Morgan and you just need to actually wash it. What does your skincare routine look like? Like, do you have one? I had a really long time in my life where I had no skincare routine. So just a few things to ponder on, and let an expert help you. Like, I highly, highly recommend it. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I'm so grateful that you are here, and I will see you next week. Bye. If the word mindfulness has ever felt vague, overwhelming, or just a little out of reach, I created something just for you. Live in presence. 8 days of mindfulness is my free online course that gently walks you through everything I wish I had known when I first heard the word mindfulness. It is a soft, spacious introduction to presence. There's no jargon, no overwhelm, and no pressure to do it right, quote unquote. So over 8 days, you'll receive short, grounded lessons and simple practices that you can weave into your real life, even if you are busy, tired, or feeling totally out of sync. And the link is in the show notes below, or through the link in my bios at Live in Health. Because presence isn't something you have to earn. It's something you get to return to. The views and opinions expressed by guests on Resonance are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of me, Viktoria Levenberg, Live in Health, or anyone working within the Live in Health brand. This space welcomes a diversity of ideas, experiences, and stories, and part of Resonance is learning to take what aligns and gently leaving the rest. Also, while I am a national board certified health and wellness coach and deeply passionate about well-being, this podcast is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. Resonance does not substitute personalized medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. Always seek guidance from qualified professionals for any physical, emotional, or mental health concerns.